Welcome to The Explainer. Step inside the evidence room. The door is locked, the clock is ticking, and we have a major case to crack today. I'm your lead detective, and in this Explainer, we are going to treat the Cambridge past papers exactly like what they are, intricate crime scenes full of hidden forensic clues. Today, we are opening the master case file on the 9709 mathematics syllabus. Specifically, we're forensically deconstructing the 3.3 trigonometry unit, which, if you're tracking the blueprints, is the exact same high-stakes content as the 2.3 unit for AS and A-level. And listen, this methodology we're about to build, it is universally applicable whether you're running cases in IGCSE, O-levels, AS, or A-levels. We are completely bypassing the standard textbook fluff. Instead, we're going straight to the raw evidence, the core mathematical principles, the highly classified examiner reports, and the precise step-by-step methodology you need to capture every single mark available. We've got our suspects, we've got our evidence board, now let's build an unassailable case. Here is the exact case progression we're going to follow. First, we uncover the 15% secret. Then, we interrogate the core theoretical principles. Third, we establish our technical methodology. Fourth, we dive into critical analysis and evaluation. And finally, we'll audit the top examiner warnings to make sure you don't fall into their traps. Section 1, the 15% secret. Let's talk about the motive, because understanding the exact weight of this topic fundamentally changes how you allocate your resources. Look closely at this number, 15%. That is not just a random statistic. That represents the approximate total marks that this single topic, 3.3 trigonometry, accounts for in your exam. When we analyze the Cambridge 9709 ecosystem, 15% is literally the exact margin that separates one entire letter grade from the next. It's the gap between a B and an A, or an A and an A star. So if you're walking into that exam hall without a completely locked-down strategy for trigonometry, you are basically leaving the vault door wide open. You can't treat this as a minor footnote. This is the central pillar of your entire grade profile. Here's the harsh truth of the interrogation room. To capture this massive chunk of marks, you need a focused, procedural approach to your methodology, not just a lucky final answer. Let me tell you about two junior agents I work with, Agent Alex and Agent Sam. Agent Alex is a procedural guy. He gathers mountains of raw facts, memorizes every single Pythagorean and double-angle identity, but he fails to build a coherent logical motive. He just throws equations at the paper. Then there's Agent Sam. Sam acts fast, jumps to immediate conclusions, and entirely skips the forensic confirmation steps. Sam misses the command word constraints completely. They both treat trigonometry like a magic trick. They stare at the data, cross their fingers, and hope the answer just appears. But examiners aren't looking for magicians. They are looking for elite detectives. They want to see method over magic. Moving to Section 2, Core Theoretical Principles. We need to re-examine the forensic evidence and figure out exactly what the syllabus is secretly demanding from you. We need to talk about assessment objectives, or AOs. The Cambridge Assessment Framework prioritizes analytical depth over superficial breadth. They categorize their targets into 3 cognitive domains. First, knowledge and understanding. This is basic data tracking. Do you know your tangent and cosine ratios? Second, application. Can you plug those ratios into a standard isolated equation? But the third domain, analysis, is the master tier. This is where the heavy, high-tariff marks live. The difference between a shallow descriptive statement, like just writing down a formula, and a high-value evaluative argument is massive. If an examiner uses the command word show that, they are demanding a flawless, unbroken chain of logical deduction. Misinterpreting these command words acts exactly like a fingerprint match error in a criminal case. It instantly gets your whole answer thrown out of court. Top-performing candidates don't just memorize isolated rules. They exhibit connected, cross-topic understanding. The examiners love to hide trigonometry inside completely different topics. You'll be investigating a calculus case, trying to find a derivative, and suddenly, bam, there's a complex trig function blocking your path. Or you're working a geometry scene and you need the sine rule to break it open. If you can't transfer your skills to unfamiliar contexts, your investigation hits a dead end. Section 3, the technical methodology. So how do we practically apply these theories? Let's go live to the interrogation room and see how a standardized procedural sequence actually works in the field. Picture this. Agents Alex and Sam are sitting at the evidence table right now, staring down a high-tariff 7-mark identity proof. They're trying to stitch together an unassailable model response to present to the judge. The clock is ticking. Alex slams his hands on the table and says, "Look, we just need to overload the text block. Let's write down every variation of the double-angle formula so they know we have the facts." Sam shakes his head, pacing the room. "No way, Alex. We don't have the time. Just jump straight to the final factored form. The examiner will know what we meant." I have to step into the room and stop them. I point right at this sequence on the board. Step 1, deconstruct the question. What is the command word? Step 2, extract the data. What is the domain for theta? Step 3, select the analytical framework. Step 4, execute with notation. Step 5, present the terminology. If Alex overloads the paper, he runs out of time. If Sam skips the steps, he breaks the chain of logic. You must follow this structural matrix to keep your analysis flawlessly anchored to the evidence. Case file freeze. Before we reveal this top-end structural matrix to help you clear your upcoming Cambridge sessions, make sure your intelligence feed is secure. Take a second right now to subscribe to Ace the Exams at the handle @AceTheExams and turn on all notifications so you never miss our weekly forensic exam updates, whether you are cracking cases at IGCSE, O-levels, or AS&A levels. All right, back to the case. We're implementing a structural framework I call the mathematical Peel matrix. Point, equation, execution, logic. Even if your final answer goes totally sideways because of a basic arithmetic slip-up, presenting your evidence clearly is what saves your grade. The principal examiner reports scream about this every year. The method marks are your safety net. If you just write down a flawed final answer like Sam wanted to, you get 0. If you show your step-by-step logic, you capture almost all the marks. We make Alex and Sam re-rate their response out loud, line by line, perfectly balanced, completely bulletproof. Section 4, Critical Analysis and Evaluation. I'm handing the investigation files over to you now. Welcome to the interactive viewer evidence room. Let's see if you can spot the clues. I'm putting a 60-second visual countdown on the clock for Challenge 1, the visual clue scan. Imagine a complex trigonometric equation on the board, something like sine 2x equals 0.5. What is the single highest yielding cotrend you need to extract before you do any math? It's the domain constraint. Is x between 0 and 360 degrees, or is it in radians? If you miss that, you fail the case. Now, Challenge 2, identify the counterfeit answer. Imagine a student response where they find the first quadrant answer, 30 degrees, and they just stop right there and draw a box around it. Can you spot the false logic? The counterfeit logic is assuming there's only one solution. You have to question assumptions and interpret alternatives. A sine value is also positive in the second quadrant. 180 minus 30 is 150 degrees. You must check for reasonableness and justify every single solution. When I use my red marker to circle that missing second quadrant answer, that is exactly where the examiner docks your marks live on the page. Section 5, Top Examiner Warnings. We're in the final stretch. Let's open the classified files on the most common traps candidates fall into, pulled directly from official Cambridge reports. To close this case, Alex, Sam, and I have distilled the examiner reports into 3 universal rules to combat these forensic errors. Rule number 1, the 3-step question scan. This decodes the wrong approach mistake. You scare for the topic, the command word, and the domain. Rule number 2, the clock budget allocation. This fixes presentation errors caused by rushing. You assign exact minute counts to marks so you never scramble. And rule number 3, the final evidence audit. This destroys vagueness. You review your answer checklist to ensure it precisely fits the specific given context. Remember, data interpretation isn't just window dressing. Applying correct terminology is mandatory. One of the biggest crimes we see in the field? Calculators left in degree mode when the syllabus explicitly demanded radians. It is a tragedy. You do all the brilliant analytical detective work, but because your equipment wasn't calibrated to the strict mandatory conventions, your evidence is corrupted. Annotate your steps, state when you are using an identity, and lock down your presentation. Alex and Sam just compiled their final high-scoring text block using these exact methods, and we've officially confirmed a 100% case resolution score. The 15% is secure. So, I have to ask you, have you built a foolproof methodology, or are you still relying on magic when you walk into the exam hall? The investigation is in your hands now. If you are serious about mastering these forensic techniques, hit that subscribe button for Ace the Exams at the handle @AceTheExams. Click the notification bell right now for our weekly grade masterclasses. And I need you to drop a comment below sharing exactly which Cambridge subject and level, whether it's IGCE, O, AS, or A level, you are preparing to conquer next. Case closed. See you in the next explainer.